so here's what I want to do next, because we talked a lot about the prospects, which is good because we do need to talk about them. But what I want to do is I want to go through, and we don't have to go through every single player, but what I want to do and do it quick. So give it like maybe 5-10 seconds because there's a lot of these. But what I want to do is I want to go through each and every one of these players and give them a grade. Like you would, like if you were the teacher, and grade their season about how they did and give an explanation in like 5 or 10 seconds. Okay. So let's
every player?
Well, I said each and every player, not each and every player. We'll just pick a couple. Some of the interesting ones. Okay. Let's start with some easy ones. Okay. So here's some softballs. Rope hints. Chris, how would you grade that one?
A+.
Okay. Why?
Because he scored all of our points.
Well, a third of them.
He scored a third of our points.
Okay, James, another softball. Jason Robertson.
Can I give someone something better than an A+?
S minus.
S minus.
Distinction.
It's absolutely insane what he's done. I mean, he leads the team in goals in his second season. I mean, a lot of players are bad in their second season in NHL. Part of that, people have been speculating, is because they're not playing all the other teams in the league. But regardless, he scores 40 goals, which for the Stars is not
like
normal.
That's the
yeah, it's like a 60 goal scorer for us. That is insane. And yeah, I mean, S. I'll give him the full S. He gets a full S.
Okay, let's talk about less.
We got to round it out. We got to give Pavelski.
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
Ryan.
Pavelski.
What about Pavelski, Ryan?
S+.
I have to do Pavelski?
Pavelski has a career season and then takes a pay cut for us.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He
doesn't get an S+. He gets a distinction plus. Okay.
Yeah.
The guy leads his team in scoring at the age of 38. He continues to put up. He put up his best career season, right? Like it was his best career season.
Yep.
At age 38.
Yep.
Who cares if he's playing with two young guys? Who cares? He still put up his best season of his career. And plus, I was like Chris, you mentioned, he took a pay cut. He took a pay cut to stay $1.5 million gone.
And this is another thing me and Zach talked about. He took a 1-year deal with us. Probably more for him, because if we're not good this next season, he's going to go try and find a cup with somebody else.
But that still is in our favor.
No, but he thinks that we're going to win a cup, and he wants to win a cup in Dallas. And that's what he talked about in his free agency, and he's going to try and live up to it. And I love that about him. I know he's always going to be a Shark more than he is going to be a Star, but even if it's for a short time, he is being extremely loyal to the Stars and doing everything he can to make us win. And that's just awesome. And I wish some of the guys that took $9 million contracts could have seen that too.
Yeah, I really hope that we could just support that. I mean, imagine if Ben and Sagan are producing at what they were producing when we signed him. I mean, it's insane that they just kind of fell off like that.
It's hard to call those bad contracts too, because you look at Jamie Benn's contract, you're like, how on earth did that get signed? Jamie Benn signed that contract after he won the Art Ross Trophy for most points in the league.
Yeah, he won that with 87, by the way.
Yeah, which is crazy low. How did that even happen?
Which is crazy low. So,
but $9 million for an Art Ross Trophy winner is not high.
Yeah,
like that's a good contract at the time.
Yeah,
but
you're right. Well, and let me pull up Brian's comment here. Hey, Brian, he's a former buddy of mine for when I lived in Denison, but he said Pavelski may retire after next year, or maybe not. Do you think he retires after this year?
If he's scoring at this rate still next season, even if he's scoring at half this rate next season, he's still good enough to help somebody.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah, he's
at $5.5 million? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's remember Jason Spezza and Joe Thornton are still on NHL rosters right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think he's going to do everything he can to get a cut before he gets off.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the questions we're going to look into over the offseason is what makes a team successful? Do you have to win a cup to be successful? We'll talk about that on another episode. But anyways, let's do less of a softball. Roddick Foxa. How would you, bless you, Chris. How would you grade his performance? I'll throw
F.
this to Chris, since he already asked.
F. How much is
Really?
he making now? 2.5?
3 1/3, I think.
Three and $3.5 million
Something like that. I'll look it
for
up
a
for you while you're
fourth
talking.
line center. He can kill as many penalties, win as many faceoffs as he wants. That is never going to be worth $3.5 million. No chance. I mean, you can throw any stat you want at me. A guy who does not score ever is not going to be worth $3.5 million. It's a terrible contract. It is awful.
3 1/4. That's what he's making. 3 1/4, and he's signed till 25, 26. So.
Oh, well, in that case, it's great.
See,
Good job.
I know. I know that you're complaining about all that, Chris, and everything, but you have to look at what he did. And I'm
What
not.
did he do?
Hold
What
on,
did he do in the playoffs? Tell me what he did.
hold on. Let me
Fight,
explain.
David, like
Fight.
Yeah, I know. It's like through the internet. No. Okay. You have to look at what he contributed to the Stars. Okay. Does he need to score more goals? Heck yes. Okay. He did not score enough goals, and that's I understand he's not a top line center. He's not a first or second line center like we envisioned him to be when we drafted him. But he has found a role in the Dallas Stars organization as that checking line center, and he does a very good job at it. Okay. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with this when I mention this statistic, but he had a lot of time on ice this season. He was on the ice a lot. Okay. Do I agree with the fact that he got that much ice time? No. I think that other players, Ruben Hintz, Pavelski, Ryan, even Sagan, I think they should have gotten more. But that doesn't neglect from the fact of what he did for the Stars this season, that he was on the ice a lot. He wins faceoffs, above 50%, most of the time. And he's a very key component of this team. And if we didn't have him, and we say this about John Klingberg, if we didn't, we'll probably not see John Klingberg again next season. But when John Klingberg's not here next season, we're going to miss what he gives us. And I think Radek Faksa fits into that same sort of category, is that we don't appreciate what he does, when he's on our team. But as soon as he's gone, then we're like, crap.
I agree with all of that, but it is not anywhere near worth 3 1/4.
Yeah.
Not
I still think it is.
Not even close.
I still
3
think
1/4 is worth more than 5 goals. It's worth more than 89 shots the entire season.
But I don't believe it's worth an F. I don't believe it's worth an F.
I'm taking his contract into account when I'm giving him his grade. He's paid to produce on a fourth line role. I agree. His role is fourth line. If you're getting paid $3.5 million to be a fourth liner, you better be one of the best fourth liners in the league. He's not.
James, what would you give him?
So without taking contract into consideration, so completely just how did he do on the season? I am going to barely pass him. I will give him a C-. Okay. And honestly, I'm very close to where Chris is, because I know y'all hate plus minuses, but plus minuses, if you look at it throughout a career, it makes sense. He hit a career low of -20 this season. It's 5 lower than the normal.
Which shows that he needs to score more, which, Chris, you're exactly right. Okay.
Yeah.
And if he's going to be that more defensive forward that we all know he can be, then he just needs to he needs to turn that part of his game back up.
Well, he was so bad this season. You kept saying he has to be injured. That was a talking point for the entire season, is that Fox has to be injured. He wasn't. This was him at 100%. So
I also I don't agree with the scoring part of it either, because in the 2019-2020 season, he only had 20 points, which he only had 19 this season. He only had 20 points in that other season, and he only had a -6. That's substantially better than a -20.
I just don't like plus minus as a stat.
I know you don't, but when it's like big differences like that, it kind of gets obvious, and it's been dropping since his 2017-2018 season.
Yeah,
He had a
but
crazy year in 2017, 2018, and he's just been downhill since then.
okay, but I mean, but the coaching was different. The team was different. We had more scoring on those kind of teams.
Well, if we're going to talk
And
about
the
coaching is in his favor. Because if they're playing a
If he's
lockdown
playing
defensive role,
defensively, yeah.
if you're going to say he's a defensive forward, then he should love it.
well, I would give him I would give him a C plus or a B minus. I don't know which
Ew.
one I would give
That
him.
is
But that's
wrong.
what I would give him.
You're just like Nil. You Foxa lover. Can't give up. Can't give up the idea of Roddick Foxa.
Hey, at least we don't have Dickinson anymore. I'd give him an A plus if he was still on
Yeah,
the team.
you're getting paid $5 million to do that, and you give him an A plus.
Yeah. Okay, so
Wait, one more thing. He's also
Okay.
taking up a roster spot of a prospect who could score goals. Like, we're paying $3 million to not play one of our players who could play very well for us in the future.
But do you want a scoring person on the fourth line?
Yes, I want my fourth line to be all three of our prospects from the minor leagues.
Even if they get like 5-6 minutes a night?
No, I want them to play full 10 minutes, and if they suck, they suck, and we'll swap them out with new guys. We've got 10
I
we got
agree with
10
that.
guys we can
Chris
move
is going
interchangeably
like
right
full Nugent right now.
Yeah, I know, he is, yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but like that's where the league is moving for sure. Yeah.
Yep,
Yes,
you're right.
the best teams are younger, and we keep signing these freaking old people to fill roster spots and to play roles.
He's right.
Wait,
I'm
what's
right.
wrong with
I'm
the
laughing
28?
because he's
Why
right.
are you booing me? I'm right.
What's wrong with a 28-year-old, huh? You got something to say
Oh,
about a 28-year-old?
For instance, in a situation like Raffle played
So
well.
there you go. He's doubling down on it.
I'm doubling down. We're paying Raffle $1 million. We're paying him $1 million so that we cannot play Peterson in the playoffs. I mean, that's what it was. Yeah. Raffle had a great playoffs. We paid Raffle $1 million so that Peterson didn't play.
And then it looked, and I'll jump on that with you. It looked even stupider because of the way that Peterson is playing at the World Championships right now.
Yeah,
because he's playing fantastically.
And I mean,
nothing's wrong.
We're paying to not play him. And yes, Raffle was great. He's not going to score goals like Peterson can. Come on.
And it's really frustrating.
These one-year garbage deals for players like this. Let our young guys take it. Give them some hope. I'm sorry, James.
You're good. It's even more frustrating with Peterson because he could have been playing that whole series. Like he could have been playing the whole series. I guarantee you he would have I think it was game 3 or 4 that I was thinking of, where it's like if we just score like one goal, it'll blow up. And I am always looking at Jacob Peterson in those games because he's the one who normally does it. He really he comes through when no one's looking at him. When everyone is hyper focused on that first line and they're just all looking. They are never looking
what we
at
need
him.
out of a second
Never
line
looking
person.
at him. Yeah. That's why I was so frustrated. He only got to play 2 games in that series. 2 games. It's a 7-game series.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's funny that we started talking about Jacob Peterson because I thought that would be another interesting one that we could take and look at his season because considering the fact that nobody knew his name before opening night and then he just kind of showed up as a 5th round pick and like, hey, here's this guy named Jacob Peterson. He's a 5th round pick. And he played fantastically. Yeah. But it's hard to give him a grade because you didn't really get to see him fully throughout the season, right?
Yeah. And so
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Sorry. My grade for Peterson is that Bones gets an F.
Right?
And it was proven because he's gone.
It's crazy too because I mean he ends up scoring technically the 6th most goals for the Stars this season.
Yeah.
And he was scratched for half the games.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man, please.
When he's actually playing.
Oh man.
There's a numbers game there. Like I think it's tough to figure out, but maybe if we played him more, who knows? Crazy.
And he had really key goals at moments too.
Yeah. I mean, like half of his goals were game winners too. That's the crazier thing. He was just clutch when he needed to be.
Let me ask y'all this because I've asked it again. I've asked it before, but can you see him being a top 6 forward? Because I can.
Yeah, I can see him more on the second line than the first line.
Oh, definitely,
But he's been really good, and he just knows where to go most of the time to get the goals. and he's
Yeah.
really good in the slot if he can get it there too. So
Okay. One more player, and then we'll get into the whole coaching situation here, because this is another one that I really. Oh well, maybe two. Okay, we'll do two.
Let's do 2.
Sorry. Yanni Hakanpaa. What would you give Yanni Hakanpaa as a grade for this season? Because he came into the Dallas Stars organization, and I kind of knew about him because I knew he played really well for the Carolina Hurricanes before he came to the Stars. He got traded from the Ducks to Carolina, and Carolina went and did their thing, and they tried to get a Stanley Cup, missed it, and he became a free agent, signed a 3-year deal with the Stars. I really thought he played well for a majority of the season. Now, do I think that he deserves an A, maybe an A-, but I'm more leaning towards like a B or a B+. What would y'all give him as a grade?
I'm giving him a B+. I mean, we brought him into the season. He was like, is he a top 4 guy? And he definitely is. He solidified himself in that. He is our number 4 guy 100%. And he got better throughout the season too. So he played very well.
Really, what solidified that for me was when we lost Lindell for like 8 games, I think it was, pretty close.
Mhm.
He really stepped up in those games, and he played the time that he needed to. And we knew it wasn't sustainable. We couldn't play him 24 minutes a night. But when we needed him to do it, he was able to do it. And he didn't look awful while he was doing it either.
He
looked
good.
pretty good. Yeah. So that was at that point, really, that solidified to me that was a really good signing, and he played really well this season, I felt like.
All right, one last player, and then we really got to get to it. This one was really interesting too, because you can take one or both ways, honestly. Miro Heiskanen. You could look at it and say, he had a semi-off season, kind of, I guess.
Offensively, correct.
But
offensively, it was an off season.
Right. So, and that's the other thing I was going to pull up is how do you grade him? Do you grade him based off of his defensive play, or do you grade him based off of his offensive play? Because it's kind of hard to do both at the same time. Because for me, if you do it just off his defensive play, A or A+, hands down. But we didn't get enough out of him offensively this season. And
for me,
I'm hoping
I can definitely do both. I mean,
okay,
let's give him an A on offense, F on defense. I mean, A on defense, F on offense. There we go. I flipped him. And that way he averages out at a C. So he gets a C.
He passes.
He passes.
So after a contract year like that, you kind of expect more, but then you look back at advanced analytics. He's one of the best defensive forwards in the league this year.
Yep.
He has and that's the only way he passes, is because offensively he was nowhere near good enough, not even close. But since he was one of the best defensive players in the league, he gets the C. He has to be better next season, though. So we can talk about how great he is all the time now, but now he's getting paid to do it too. So we can't just gaw over him. He's accountable to this team to be a part of the solution
because of the cap hit.
Because of his cap hit, and he deserves it. He deserves every penny of it. But he's got to be a part of us winning night in and night out.
James?
Just a big part of it was time on ice. He played crazy amount every single night. It's absolutely insane. I mean, it's definitely not like as much as some of these other players on other teams, but he still ends up with 24 minutes and 53 seconds average ice time per night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
And you think
Absolutely
with the coaching change and with a system change, style of play change, that the offensive numbers can change, because we talked about how with Bones, all these guys who have great offensive history just all of a sudden goes poof, and that can't be coincidence in our opinion, pretty much. So I think with a new coach, it doesn't really matter who it is. Anybody who's a little bit more offensive than Bones, because Bones is full trap, that he